What's up, Canes? What's up, man? I'll be right back. 1 second. Let me get my drink. All right. All right. I know that was a tough game for you guys last night, Canes. Unfortunate. And I would say, with the way Miami's been playing lately, I'm seriously worried about him now. Coog, what's up, man? What a complete embarrassment last night. Yeah, it's just like, man, they just do not seem to be, they just cannot get in a rhythm, one of the things you kind of look for is, like I've said, is like everyone goes through, like Virginia, again, like the whole year starting out for Virginia has been probably, really frustrating for the staff, really frustrating for fans, but they've seemed to like turn the corner now. Like with Miami, you just you're still waiting for them to turn a corner. And ultimately, again, if you do that this weekend, you still control your destiny. But if you don't do it this weekend, it becomes pretty much impossible for anything to happen. As far as tournament, everything like that. If Kyle is worried, then it's time to blow it up. Kyle the optimist. Yeah. I'm a realistic optimist, but I always try to look at, like, you know what? There's still a shot. There's still a shot, but it's just coming to the point where there's already a very little shot now. And again, like this weekend, all of a sudden, maybe something happens or whatever, but it has to happen this weekend. Kyle, when are you going to admit that we are a poorly coached team? I don't watch the games. Like, Zach, for me, like, I'm not going to say that. Unless I've watched the games in depth to know. Like, I know that's what you guys believe. And it could be the case. I haven't watched enough of the games to like get a sense for that. And like the other thing is, you have to really know the team well to have an idea about that as well, because like I know Georgia Tech very well. I know the roster. So like, if a pitcher's brought into a weird situation, for me, I could be like, oh, that's weird. Why are they bringing him in there? But for mostly every other team, I don't know them that well and that in depth to be like, oh, that doesn't make sense. There's no benefit of Kyle saying that, Zach. These coaches will have other jobs and still need players. No need to burn bridges. Yeah, 100%, right. And like, listen, I know a few of those guys on Miami staff, and they're great guys. So I'm hoping they turn it around. I hope they turn it around. Again, like, there's still a shot, but from what you've seen throughout the season, it's going to be tough. But I hope they turn it around, and I hope they finish strong for the remaining part of the year. That's why our former players listen and don't speak in the space. Yeah. When you start to really go in on like criticizing coaches, you kind of cross the line over to like a commentator and like a full-time analyst and stuff like that. And that's just not where I'm not that, at least not yet. That's not what I am. So I don't want to criticize, how people coach and everything like that. I think it's fine to say things like, A&M's had a rough start. Mississippi State's had a rough start, because that's just an objective truth. But I'm not really going to comment too much on like people's coaching decisions and everything like that. But I'll let you guys tell me. Makes no sense for them to come in and talk. Yeah, exactly. But I get the frustration, right? I get y'all's frustration. What's up, Dust? What's up, man? Are the boys on the flight to Stanford yet? Are they on the flight to, what is it? Palo Alto? But again, Zach and Kane's like, Miami, yeah, I mean Miami, like you're going to Pitt. This has to be a series win, right? And like hopefully you play really well and you sweep, you know. We are 1 week away from JD being on the hot seat. I'll take your word for it, Dust. Exactly, we're just fans, so we can. Former players and advisors, that doesn't make any sense to criticize coaches. Never know when they will need a favor or if you will need a favor. Yep, that's right. That's right. Appreciate you understanding that, Canes. Dusty, let's think about this. Is it going to be like terrible camera angle for the Stanford series, Georgia Tech? Is it even going to be worth watching? You can be critical to your clients about them in private when you're weighing the pros and cons of each school. 100%. 100%. And really what we talk about with clients tends to be more like, this is his coaching style. This is the things he likes to see. These are the things he's good at developing. You know, and so if that style doesn't mesh well with the player, you know, if it's a guy who, you know, a more pro style coach who those guys tend to not have as much success in college, just to be honest. But some guys will play better under a guy who's not super critical on you know, on top of it, on top of you every time you do something wrong. But some guys like myself, like I want that guy. You know, I want that guy that is gonna call me out. That's where you can really find out what Kyle thinks, Zach. My son said, wow, did that say 96 about Miami starter? Said maybe, but nobody cares. It was 4 feet off the plate. Yeah. What's up? What up? Just finished lunch. What's up? What's up? WH, the White House is in the building. Which kid, Jared? Last night was really bad, man. Yeah, I mean, I mean, I followed it on, you know, social media, and it was just like, man, you know, one of those games you don't even feel like you're ever going to have it. You don't even have a chance to win. Lumpkin definitely isn't throwing 96. It might have been DeRias. He's really good. True freshman from New Jersey. My 12-year-old sophomore son knows better to say that. Knows better than, you know, your sophomore son knows better than to say that. Yeah, 100%. I get it. Taking off, joining back when I get Wi-Fi. All right, Canes. Oh, pitcher, Thione with that terrible stash. Dude, you know what I saw today? Like, so I saw some of like the most ridiculously bad defensive plays. And I'll just add that one to the list. So let's go through some of these bookmarks I marked earlier today in preparation for our stream. Let's see, where do I want to start here? All right, let's see here. All right. First of all, this is just crazy that this happens in a big league game. And again, like I never thought I would see something like this in a big league game. This tells you, I mean, again, this is pathetic and sad, but this is how bad the baseball IQs are, even in the major leagues. All right, so there's 2 outs, guys. Watch what this second baseman does on a slow developing ground ball.
Up and all over the field, and the nickname stuck for Mr. Marinville. Ground ball, second base. Keith, a little awkward, and then a spin, and he was late on all of it. Just got to get the runner at first.
Like, what is that?
2 out, and now back to the.
I mean, that's like off the bat, I'm just taking it out at first. It's not hit hard at all.
And the nickname stuck.
1, 2, 3 hopper to second. And we're going to try to go to second? Again, it's just like I don't think I ever saw that happen in my entire career. And this happened in the big leagues. This is a big league second baseman. And all you have to do is take the out at first. And the thing is this. I just think, Dusty, I think he just made the assumption that, like, pre-pitch, I'm gonna, if I get a ground ball, I'm gonna go to second. But, like, again, that's fine. But if it's hit soft like this, and it's 2 outs, 2 strikes, so you're going on the swing. Like, if it's a slow developing ground ball, you don't even want to risk it being close at second. You just go to first.
And the nickname stuck for Mr. Marinville. Ground ball, second base. Keith, a little awkward, and then a spin.
I also don't know. Like, look at how he approaches this ground ball.
For Mr. Marinville.
Like, all he has to do is catch it in front of him, and like, literally all he could do, and I'll take it off screen for a second. All he has to do is catch it in front of him and, like, side toss it to second. Right there. Like, watch right here. If he does that, he's got him easily, but he, like, takes it on the side and, like, spins.
Ball, second base. Keith, a little awkward, and then a spin.
Anyway, when it's hit that slow, just go to first. And what happened is he ended up costing, let me see what it says here on the tweet. This cost Scooble, is it Scooble? I don't even know how to say his name. That's how little I watch the big leagues. But this cost him 15 extra pitches and 2 runs in the inning because the play wasn't made. All right. What's up, Buck? What's up, man? All right, so you guys remember, what am I getting? Sorry, I just got someone checking some of. All right. Now, yeah. Oh my, yeah. Like, that play cost your Cy Young winner 2 runs and 15 extra pitches in a start. We are officially concerned about MLB baseball. No, just wait. Dude, I don't know what my algorithm was this morning, but I just kept seeing, like, the dumbest plays that happened, I guess, yesterday in Major League Baseball. This isn't a dumb play. It's just a bad defensive play. But remember we saw that tweet yesterday talking about, man, that was and people say Juan Soto's a bad defender because he, like, made a routine play. And those are the people that are covering baseball now. The people covering baseball have no idea what they're looking at. You have a beat writer for a Major League team saying, people say he's a bad defender. And then he just shows a routine fly ball that he barely catches. And then he says, oh, he's a good defender now. So watch this. This is Juan Soto. The tweet for this is, let me see here. Juan Soto guns down the runner at home. What a throw.
Fortes shoots one the other way for a base hit. Lopez around third heading home. It's booted by Soto in right field. The Mets' poor defense continues. Fortes with an RBI hit, and it's 4-1 Miami. Well, the Mets are just kicking the ball all over the place today.
Yeah, he's a really good defender. And the thing is, this ball is hit really hard. So this should be like, you know, with the normal right fielder, like, it's going to be a close play at home, and maybe even you're probably going to throw him out with how hard it was hit. That was quick. Canes, welcome back, man. Yeah, so there's a play. I got these dialed up right now. So here's a torpedo bat thing that we're gonna watch. So this is Volpe, I think yesterday, for the Angels, or for the Yankees facing the Angels, or sorry, Arizona. And let me see what you guys are saying. Currently in the sky over 305. Nice, man. I'm going to have a heart attack with these plays. A good fielder, Soto is not. DH by the time he's 30. 100%. He should be DHing already. Mets made a few bad plays yesterday. Yep. Oh my God, Lindor yesterday was terrible as well, Kyle. And that's weird for Lindor, right? Lindor, I was teammates with him. I didn't really like him as a person, just as a guy. But I mean, guy can pick it. Juan Soto got a little chunky during the offseason. Maybe. Better off using a ping pong paddle. All right, so this next clip's with the Volpe and the torpedo bat. He hits a home run, 94 exit velocity at 38 degrees. I'm not sure how that's ever a home run, because that's not hit terribly hard. And 38 degree launch angle is like, that's pretty close to like 45 degrees, But let's watch this clip and we'll see where he hits this on the bat and it still goes out. Arizona. All right, I'll let you watch the full speed clip. Because if you watch the full speed clip, it's like, oh, he hit that pretty good. But look, barely gets out. Moonshot, yeah. He doesn't even know it's a home run. All right, so right here, we're going to slow it down. 0.25. Look where that hit. He literally hits that right here. I mean, this is what's called basically getting blown up. But because it's a torpedo bat, somehow this still comes off the bat at 94. I mean, this is like way down in a normal bat. This is like way down the barrel. It's there's no way it gets out, but it's a torpedo bat. He gets blown up, but somehow it still goes 94 off the bat and travels out. You can hit a ball 375 up to a 40-degree launch angle I've seen in some Rapsodo models. Thank you, Buck. Thanks for that information. Let's see how far it goes out by. Barely gets out, right? Barely gets out. Okay. And that was Jeff Fry. He's like, these baseballs are definitely juiced. I want to play in a league where you can get beat on fastballs and hit the ball 337 feet at only 94 miles per hour exit velocity at a 38-degree launch angle with a torpedo-shaped bat in an MLB stadium with shorter fences than most high school fields. Cameron, do you think we'll see a lot of torpedo bats on the summer circuit? If it's going to be ruled legal, I mean, I've seen conflicting reports. I've seen some reports where, MLB has said they're going to come out and ban it, but then they're still using them. So I don't know. To be honest, if it's legal, yes, you will see a bunch of people using them because it's just like it's the next best thing. All right, so here's the next one. So this is Ozzie Albies off Blake Snell. Fly ball to deep center field, but just watch the route of this center fielder.
Ozzie out to center field. Pages back. Reaching up. It gets over his glove. One run is in. White will go for third. Ozzie ends up at second. And the Braves finding some offense out to center field.
All right, so let me tell you what you do on a ball like this.
Center field.
Like, first of all, look how deep he is. How do you miss this ball? How do you miss this? You're playing on the track. Torpedo bats. Let pitchers use sticky. Yep. Fine with me. Our travel team is Marucci, and they emailed us over the weekend to come get the torpedo bats. Would love to know how many they've sold in the past week. Oh, my gosh. Great. Torpedo bats and oven mitts. There will be parents who spend $500 on the torpedo bat for 3 ABs on the weekend, won't there? Yes. Parents spend money on 2 oven mitts, Dusty. That's Pages, right? He's usually quite strong in center field, but bad route. I mean, but this is the thing, Buck, is like these guys play so deep now. Like, they look like they're way better defenders than they are. And that's part of the reason why they play deep, because they're putting a lot of people in the outfield that are actually not great defenders. But this is like, let me make something clear. A major league center fielder 10 years ago catches this ball with ease. And he's not even playing, and he's not playing nearly as deep as Pages is here. Pages. Like, all you do is you turn and you whip the head around and you get turned. He doesn't ever whip the head. He doesn't ever turn to, face the ball where it is. And he ends up doing like right now, he's sidestepping. He's not gaining any ground because the ball's behind. He's like this, and the ball's behind him. When all he had to do is flip the head around and get turned to be like this. But he doesn't do that, and then makes this like weak jumping play. Anyway, Braves still lose, so everyone's going to forget about it. Canarella makes that play camped. I agree. I agree. But that's the thing. It's like if you're an average major league caliber defender in center field, you catch that ball, especially when you're playing 30 feet from the track. And Andrew Jones isn't a Hall of Famer. Yeah. All right, here's an interesting clip. Here's another interesting clip. Flip the hips, not the head, Kyle. Tennis ball drill. Well, you gotta what you're taught in by your what they used to teach us in spring training and stuff is the body will follow where you're looking, and so if you don't whip the head around. If you whip the head, the hips and the body will follow. But if you try to whip like the hips and the shoulders without whipping the head, you're not going to have as quick as a turn. So we were always taught, flip your head around as fast as you can. And I mean, that's like, again, that's like a routine. That's a routine move for a center fielder. Every center fielder that plays at a professional level should know how to do that. Mikey makes that play. Mikey had some great plays from center field yesterday, and Mikey likes it. All right. I've told you guys this in the past. This next clip is you guys are gonna hear something I told you about what a lot of hitters do in pro ball with the spray on their bat.
Kidding when you said that players use illegal bats, right? Because people out there.
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that we clarify that because, no pitcher that I ever played with ever put anything sticky on a ball either.
We've all seen it. We see guys stand on the on-deck circle with that spray, and all of a sudden that spray gets on the barrel of their bat. And that's not legal, but we let it happen. Yeah. I've been telling the hitters, you hear it all the time. Someone comes in, they're like, that was 102 at 26. So-and-so's at 97 at 26 left the yard. Well, his spin efficiency and his spin rate was probably better how he clipped the ball. So if these guys can figure out a way, instead of getting a better barrel, but texture your barrel maybe have a little sandpaper texture on your barrel, and then you can spin the ball better and the ball will carry further. We all want more offense, right?
That's illegal. That would be illegal to do.
Nobody's bat's textured in the big leagues, right? Their bats get checked like my hands when I come off the mound, right? Let's just have the hitters start handing it to the home plate umpire before the at-bat starts.
Okay, so what is he talking about? What he's talking about is there's like a sticky spray that is kind of like the same thing as pine tar. It's obviously not pine tar, but it's the same application. You use it to get a better grip on the bat. And what a lot of guys do is to make, like he said, to create better spin efficiency off the bat so that a ball you hit, like Volpe, 94, at a 38-degree launch angle, for some reason it just travels better than guys that don't do it. And what they do is they spray it on the handle, right? And they get the grip, but then they'll spray the barrel really quick. spray the barrel. And by the time you get up to the plate, it's kind of hardened on the barrel, but it's got that stick on it. So when you hit it, it creates better spin on the ball. You know, how effective it is, I don't know. But I know guys were doing that when I played all the time, and like nobody cared. But like he said, you know, they're checking my hands every time I walk out to pitch. Maybe they should check the bats, which is interesting. All right, this is a hilarious one. You guys, this is hilarious. Dusty, this is going to blow your mind. The bats are not going to last long when pitchers adjust. The bats are not going to last long when pitchers adjust. Yeah, if I'm facing the guy with a, like, I don't understand why people aren't doing this already, but if I'm facing the guy with the torpedo bat, like, I'm just throwing everything away, right? Guys don't even try to hide it. They spray it directly on the barrel, man, in the on-deck circle. Yeah. Yeah, they really do. And, like, I always remember thinking, that's illegal. Like, you can't have pine tar up above the label. And this is the same thing. And, like, where do you see that, Canes? In every minor league game and big league games. Like, you probably, if you watch enough big league games, you'll probably see at one point a camera will pan to a guy in the hole in the dugout or on deck circle, and you'll see him do it. Or what they'll do is they'll spray the handle and spray their hands, and then they'll just grab the barrel and start rubbing up the barrel. But Dusty's right, because Dusty pitched up to AAA and was in a bunch of big league spring training games, and like he's seen it. You know, it's just like he's right. Guys they don't even hide it. No one does. I remember when I started noticing it, I was just like, isn't that illegal? Because remember, I was a GM's son, so I had to be careful about everything. But I remember thinking, like, does that really help? Like, and I do remember like a lot of people, it was basically like a rumor that, you know, it wasn't like straight science. You know, it was like, oh yeah, like everyone says this like helps the ball like travel better, carry more, whatever. So it was kind of like, okay, it may help, may not. But I think it's pretty clear that it helps now. And I think most people probably even knew that back then. But it was talked about like it was like, oh, it was like kind of gimmicky or whatever. Watch the guy on deck, and I guarantee you'll see it within 3 hitters. Yeah, it's probably. But watch this play from the Milwaukee game. So it's 11th inning. Milwaukee's home, 1 out. They do like a safety squeeze. Watch what the pitcher does with the ball when he fields it. And my God, is this what's happened in the major leagues? And Terang down. Remember, if the runner scores, the game is over. Watch the pitcher.
Square gets a bunt down. Here comes Dunn. He scores. Square gets a bunt down. Here comes Dunn. He scores.
He throws it to first base. Like, bro, what are you doing?
Square gets a bunt down. Here comes Dunn.
Like, and don't get me wrong. There's no way to defend that play. It's a perfect bunt by Terang. The guy's safe. But, like, why are you even throwing it to first?
He scores! A squeeze bunt.
Like, why? Like, that's the play, Dusty, where as soon as the bunt's down on the line, you don't even pick it up. The game's over. Is he trying to save? I know what he's trying to do. He's trying to get the out at first so that it's not a hit. If he gets the force out there, it lowers his ERA. yeah. I mean, seriously. But like again, it's just insane that was even a thought process in that situation. It's like, I'm going to throw it to first. All right, dude, look at this one, man. Oh my gosh, man. The outfield play that I've seen early in the big leagues is it's laughable. Watch this home run by Mike Trout and watch the center fielder.
A curveball that Trout went down and got it.
Oh.
There's a fly ball, center field, hit well. Scott is back. He's at the wall. He leaps. It's gone. There's home run number 1 for Mike Trout.
Couldn't find the wall, I guess. Couldn't find the wall. He does a good job. Like, again, look at how deep he's playing, all right?
There's a fly ball.
All right, so right after the ball's hit, he's playing. I mean, he's literally right here. Look how much space is there in shallow center field. But he does the right thing. He sees the ball off the bat. He turns and runs, covers ground. But then when he picks it up again,
Scott is back. He's at the wall. He leaps.
Like he forgot where the wall was. That hurts too, by the way.
It's gone. There's home run number 1 for Mike Trout.
Like that even as a pitcher, Dusty, that makes you even feel even worse, right? When the outfielder, center fielder looks like that going after the ball. What in the hell is this blooper reel you got us watching? That's what, dude, I saw all of these today. I saw all of these today, and on every play, I'm like, what the hell is going on? So according to Pardon the Interruption on April 1st, which is April Fool's Day, so who knows? They said breaking MLB is reportedly banning the torpedo bats after backing them just 2 days ago. Is baseball right or wrong? So I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if they're going to get banned or not. There's a lot of people saying both things right now. He came into the game in a 1-1 count. He bunts twice and gets out because he thought he came into an 0-0 count. Looks like they're trying out for the Savannah Bananas. Yeah. I mean, seriously, like it's crazy what's going on in Major League Baseball. Torpedo bats can't help the Mariners. How can an MLB team have a 200-team batting average? That organization is a mess. Well, because the Mariners don't believe that batting average is important. That's why, Cap. And again, it's really early, so like don't look too much into your team's batting average. Like 5 games into the season, 7 games into the season. But I mean, it is like. Batting averages across the board have gone down and down and down and down. And that's like I said, like the outside looking in fan says, who doesn't really know the game, will say, well, pitching's just so much better now. No, it's because hitters are not taught that batting average is important. Hitters are taught you got to slug and get on base. That's it. We don't care about your batting average. If you hit 230 and you hit 25 home runs and you got like a 350 on base, you're going to play for us. They can do those same bloopers of the Miami Hurricanes. I'm glad no one has done them. Those weren't even bloopers. A lot of those reels, they weren't even talking about the defensive play. It was just like I'm watching it and I'm like, what the hell is going on? All right, so let's look at we got some games tonight. Let's look at the scores, the games, the series that are starting tonight. Last year, I think they had a team batting average around 200. I mean, that's insane if that's true, Cap. Like I said, I don't watch a lot of Major League Baseball just because of, for example, what we just watched for the last 20 minutes. It's really hard for me to watch the game right now because the product, I think for casual fans, they think they don't have a problem with it. But for someone, if you've been around the game and you've played at a high level, it's tough to watch now. Guess how many teams are hitting 270 as a team 7 games in? I don't even want to know, dude. Like, I'm going to go 3. 3. There are more teams hitting below 200 than there are hitting above 270. And again, this is the logical end point. We're probably not even at the end point, but the logical end point of telling hitters batting average isn't important. Strikeouts don't matter, right? Well, if you strike out more, generally your batting average is going to be lower than it could have been, right? Because if you put the ball in play, you have a chance for a hit. If you strike out, you never have a chance for a hit. So when you tell hitters as an organization, which a lot of these organizations are doing, and if you're a batting average guy that hits for high average and you never get a shot, like everyone else in the organization goes, oh, man, Kyle's been hitting really good up in AAA, but he never gets a shot. Like, I'm not going to do that. I'm gonna try to slug. So the logical endpoint is team batting average is just going way down, strikeouts going way up, and that's what we're seeing, right? And like we've looked at in a lot of major league organizations, you have minor league hitting coordinators, major league hitting coaches that have never played the game outside of like at a small college or even high school. So it's just it's insane what's going on. Okay, so tonight we have Duke, North Carolina. Duke playing really well. Like, this is a big series for both teams. Duke at 7-5, North Carolina at 6-6. Duke has really kind of started to come on. North Carolina, won their first weekends, or not their first, but they won the series last weekend. So they're playing better. They've won 2 straight. But again, this is going to be a tough series. Ole Miss, Kentucky, big series for them at 4-5 in SEC. It is in Lexington. And then LSU, Oklahoma in Oklahoma. So battle of 2 top 10 teams, Oklahoma. I think LSU is better than Oklahoma, but it's at Oklahoma, so anything can happen. Do you remember your walk-off single with the bases loaded versus the White Sox, April 1st, 2017? Just watched the highlight. Of course I do. That was in the exhibition game, the last exhibition game before those of us who were non-roster invites got to shipped back off to AAA. Yeah, I came up and bases were loaded and I was in a 2-strike count, and I remember just telling myself, just see it deep, put it in play, and the guy hung a breaking ball and I hit a hard ground ball through the 6 hole for a base hit and walked it off in like the 10th inning or 9th inning. I don't know what it was. And I remember Pat Murphy was like, man, Pat Murphy was like, it was infield in, outfield was playing shallow because they have to throw a run out or throw the guy out. And Pat Murphy was like, man, I thought Bandy at third, I thought they had a chance of throwing him out at home because he really couldn't run. Kyle, do you think the high school baseball in Georgia is better now, or was it better when you were in high school? I think it's probably better now overall, but it's like, it's probably better in some ways and worse in other ways. And it's better in, maybe the physical talent, physical tools, but is it, it's worse in like baseball IQ. Like it's like we had to talk to our guys 2 days ago about their 2-out leads at second, because they would get that depth behind second base to create the angle. So on a base hit, they can just turn and score. But they would, while they're creeping in their lead, they would all creep back into the baseline. So we had to tell them, like, hey, like we want you out there for a reason. We don't want you creeping into the baseline. Wow, some really good games tonight. Let's go. Yeah, there are. One of the top coaches down here told me yesterday at the game that the high school baseball in Miami-Dade is the worst he's ever seen. Yeah, and so I think there's 2 ways to look at it, Canes. It's like, are guys better baseball players? Probably not. They're probably worse baseball players, but they're more physically talented. They carried Kyle off the field after the game, built a statue outside the stadium. Yeah, they did. You're right, Dust. I'm not going to deny that. It was the most anticlimactic walk-off because, like, it was an exhibition game, so no one really cared. But when you're going through it, when you're trying to get that call up, you kind of, when you do things like that in a spring training game, in a big situation, in a big league stadium, you think things like that matter. And they did when like baseball guys were running the show, right? A guy like my dad would see that and be like, hey, came up in a big situation, got the job done with 2 strikes. Like that's important. These analytics guys could care less about that. They could care less about that. And so, when I did that, that was in 2017. So I'd come off my best year. I had hit 340 in AAA, led the organization in hitting. I think baseball, one of the baseball sites that I was on, if you look up Knocking Down the Door, I think it's Baseball Reference maybe, or MLB Trade Rumors. They made an article about me like at the end of July, basically saying I was soon to be called up because I was having such a great year. Didn't get called up, but I had a great spring training showing. I hit like 340 that year in spring training, hit that walk-off at the end of to cap it off. And so going into that 2017 season, I thought, all right, I had a great year last year in AAA, led the organization in hitting. I raked in a bunch of spring training at bats, like 40 at bats or whatever. I hit like 340 with a couple doubles, triple, home run, good amount of walks, played good defense. So I was like, I'm like, it's going to happen this year. And unfortunately, like it just didn't matter because David Stearns didn't like the kind of player I was analytically. That's basically it. So I remember that because at that time I was like, I've proven that I can perform here, or I should at least get a shot to make it up. And then it, never happened. Unfortunate. This is the article, just so you can see what was said. And Dusty's going to give me some crap for bringing this up, but I just want to read it to you. So this is me on Knocking Down the Door. Some combination of Kirk Newman, and we were loaded in the outfield, right? So this was a big issue for us. Kyle's thoughts drift off into what could have been, and all we have left is the silence. That's right, man. You start going down that rabbit hole, you're like, oh, you start thinking about it again. Was listening to Phillies game, and John Kruk is fantastic. Thinking of a duo of Kruk and Dusty would be must listen and watch TV. That would be good. So some combination of Kirk Neuenhuis, Keon Broxton, Ramon Flores was supposed to be keeping the center field job warm until top prospect Brett Phillips was ready to take over, likely at some point this season. It hasn't worked out on either front, as that trio, despite Neuenhuis' recent 2-game hot streak, has struggled mightily at the plate, and Phillips has not done enough with Double-A Biloxi. He's probably pushed his big league ETA back to 2017. I'm not sure what Plan B was when the season started, but Kyle Wren has played himself into a position to be just that. Acquired from the Braves prior to the 2015 season, not long after his father was fired as Atlanta's GM, Wren has the ability to play all 3 outfield spots and get on base and steal some bags. Since a promotion to AAA in early June, the 25-year-old has a .914 OPS with more walks than strikeouts and 11 stolen bases and 13 chances. With Domingo Santana slow to return from an elbow injury that has sidelined him for nearly 2 months, not to mention again how unproductive Neuenhuis, Broxton, and Flores have been, there's no reason why Wren shouldn't get a look over the final 2 months of the season. So that article came out, and I'm like, okay, that's not nothing. But it didn't happen. Unfortunate. All right, so we got those games coming up tonight. Looking at Friday's starts. Kyle, check out the stats on Kansas player Brady Ballinger. He's a Vegas kid and your kind of hitter and can slug. All right. LMAO. What are you laughing at, Dust? All right. Brady Ballinger hitting 430 games, 9 doubles, 1 triple, 9 home runs, 38 walks to 18 strikeouts. Yeah. That's legit. That's legit. Still made it further than most. Yeah. That's true. I mean, that's real. I mean, that's the only regret in my career is that I never got that shot. I never got to like make that call to my dad, to tell him, you know. But that's how life is sometimes, right? Sometimes you just, even if you've earned something in your mind, it doesn't happen. All right. Way farther. Yeah. We got season on the line on Friday. Yeah, you do, Canes. Season's on the line for sure. White House, you were correct for sure. All right. So we saw Duke, North Carolina. Coastal, Arkansas State. That should be an easy series for Coastal. Southern Miss, Marshall. Southern Miss going to probably win that one. Troy, Old Dominion. Same thing. The Old Dominion's got like, Old Dominion's like an upset type team because they do have good starting pitching. Even though they're 8-18 overall, they're 4-5. Well, neither did Colby or Jordan. You're right. Boston College, Louisville. Dude, this is going to be a sneaky good series because Boston College is like, they're 5-7 right now. They're middle of the pack right now in the ACC, albeit like near the bottom of the middle of the pack, but they're playing good. Ole Miss, Kentucky, we talked about that. Vandy, Florida. I mean, this is a massive series. Vandy's at 4-5, right? So they need to get back on the right track. But Florida's 1-8, and it's in Gainesville. So again, this is a must-win series for Florida. Alabama, Auburn. This will be a great series in Auburn. Auburn, after getting swept by Georgia, is a big series here. Big series. I'm hoping we lose. We get Elander as head coach and Kyle Wren as hitting coach. Okay. Thanks, Canes. I appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. Texas A&M, Tennessee, another massive series for A&M. This is a must-win series for A&M, right? And it's against the best team in college baseball in Knoxville. Good luck. Kansas State, Oklahoma State. Man, Oklahoma State has not played well, and Kansas State has just balled out. So it'll be a good series, though, because I think everyone knows, like, Oklahoma State, like, if they play like they can beat a lot of teams. Western Kentucky, Dallas Baptist. This is like the matchup of Conference USA. Western Kentucky at 25-4. Dallas Baptist, number 17 in the country. So, like, this is going to be a great series. LSU, Oklahoma, we talked about. Georgia, Texas, man. This is probably the biggest series of the week. They're both 8-1 in SEC play. They're both top 5 in the country. This is a massive series. Florida State, Wake Forest, who again, like, dropped out of the top 25, kind of, I think, ridiculous. But this is going to be a good series. Florida State, Wake. Wake was, it was like a week ago we thought Wake's like pretty much a top 10 team. Kyle, would you take the Miami hitting coach job if offered you? Man, I don't know, man. That's far from my family. Dusty, you got connections? Georgia, Texas will be very exciting. I think it has to be $350K to get Kyle down here. Cost of living is expensive. White House, get him 1.2 mil. That's White House. I kind of like what you're saying. Elander makes 1.2 million right now as an assistant coach. I don't think it's that high, but he's definitely one of the highest paid assistant coaches in the country, if not the highest. Missouri, Arkansas. Again, Missouri, this is, they're almost already out of contention unless they win this series or sweep it. And it's in Fayetteville. So good luck. Oregon, Michigan. This will be a great matchup in the Big Ten. UC Irvine, Oregon State. This is going to be an exciting matchup because we'll really get to tell. We'll get an idea of how good Oregon State is, because UC Irvine's just beaten everybody to death, and Oregon State hadn't really played anybody, and all their losses are against like all the good teams they've played. They've lost to, for the most part. So that'll be a great series. Kyle wouldn't take it. He has to be in 5-mile radius of family and extended family. Frank Wren would love to move back down to Miami. I don't know if they would. My parents always they loved Florida, but like they were like, it's so hot down there, it's unbearable. Kyle can go to the Florida Keys like old times. San Diego, UCLA. I think UCLA going to be heavily favored. Canes is really trying to. Yeah, he always does. This is every day kind of. Even when he's 40,000 feet in the air, and Kyle can still run ESA and funnel players to Miami. Yeah, I don't think that would work. Clemson, California. This is actually going to be a good. I mean, it's in Berkeley. Cal's at home. Probably going to be a bad camera. We won't be able to know what's going on in the game. But Cal's played pretty good. Georgia Tech, Stanford. Again, Stanford. Like, which Stanford's going to show up? That's the question. Is it the Stanford of the last 2 weeks or the Stanford of the first 2 weeks of ACC play, where they looked like, man, this is a top 15, top 20 team. They've played really, really bad the last 2 weekends, so it'd be interesting to see which one shows up. Georgia Tech's been pretty consistent of what you're going to get pretty much every weekend. So they're going to score a lot of runs. Their pitching's going to be decent. So it's going to be interesting to see like how traveling that far west is that going to impact Georgia Tech. And then another big series in the Big 12, Arizona and Arizona State, both playing well. Arizona State 7-2, Arizona's 6-3 in the Big 12. That'll be a big matchup. So we got a lot of good ones, but I think the matchups of the week are UC Irvine, Oregon State. You get to figure out who Oregon State really is. Georgia, Texas. Again, that's the premier matchup of the weekend in Austin. Going to be really exciting to watch that. LSU, Oklahoma for sure. And then you have the series where like it's important for a certain team. Like Tennessee is going to be really tough to take a series from in Knoxville. And A&M, if you're an A&M fan, you feel like you have to get a series win here. Like you can't drop to 2-10 or even worse, 1-11. Right? If you drop to 1-11, it becomes almost impossible to make it to the tournament. And the same is true with Florida, right? Florida needs to get a series win. So we got some good matchups coming up, guys. I mean, really good matchups this weekend. And that's going to be the case the rest of the year. And this is something I was thinking about yesterday, guys. Like, especially when we read that tweet about Kyle Wren is our hitting coach. Jordan Wren takes over and starts funneling players to Miami, Georgia Tech, and Georgia State. Canes, you're really going deep on this, man. Coog, did you see Houston has a top 10 JUCO pitcher coming in? Pro Baseball Radar posted. He's located in Tampa. Come to the great state of Maryland. They will have you on a heavy diet of crab. Man, I lived in Maryland for 2 years when my dad worked for the Baltimore Orioles as the GM. I loved it up there. I mean, I love seafood. So, like, you're right. Like, the crab up there and all that stuff. We lived in Severna Park. Yeah, pretty close to Annapolis. I'm working with our coach to pick one advanced metric from hitting, pitching, and fielding that we can focus on kids on to show they are contributing to winning. Was thinking about quality of bats for hitting, but what would you choose? Yeah, I think quality of bats. I think quality, like, if you're trying to develop a hitter, you want them to become an actual professional hitter, you train quality at bats. Because the best hitters in the game have the most quality at bats. There's just no denying that. I'm trying to get back to the top. I appreciate your support, Canes. I really do. But you know what's crazy is like the lost art of like pitching. Like what happened to like we're going to throw what he doesn't expect? And now it's just like we're going to pitch. We're going to. I think for pitching, I think Dusty would be better answering, but maybe first pitch strikes. Right, first pitch strikes, and then fielding. Fielding's a little bit more difficult because it's just like, you know, I think if fielding, it's not as much of a metric as just keep track of like, do you make the routine plays? How many routine plays, opportunities did you get, and how many did you convert? Whip, walks plus hits per innings pitched for hard contact rate for pitching, or hard contact rate for pitching. Man, I think you just go first pitch strikes, Buck, because I think first pitch strikes, that will improve your whip. Right? How many what's your first pitch strike percentage? Right? If you talk to the guys that really know how to pitch in the big leagues, that's what they say. They're like, I'm going to try to get first pitch strike. Like if I can get ahead 0-1, I'm in an advantage. Fielding, mental errors, yeah, that's good. I think if you just keep track of like routine play opportunities and how many they converted on over the season, and they when they look back and they're like, oh, you had 50 routine plays and you made 5 errors. That's a 10. That's a 900 fielding percentage. That needs to improve. But I don't know why. I don't know when pitching. Like, how did the pitching strategy change to? We're just going to pitch to the percentages. And yeah, he's really bad against the slider, so we're just going to hammer him with sliders. And it's like, again, if you never played at a high level, you think that makes sense. But for hitters, like hitters are always hunting a pitch, and hitters at the big league level generally have an idea how they're going to be attacked as a hitter. And so if they know, hey, they're throwing me a lot of sliders right now, they're going to be sitting slider. And I don't know when pitching strategy and pitch calling went away from like, what's the hitter expecting? Again, you're watching the hitter swing, what it's telling you, but you also need to get inside a hitter's head and be like, all right, what's he looking for in this situation? What's he looking for? I'm not going to give it to him. And whatever happened to like, hey, let's go first pitch strike down and away. And then we can, we get first pitch strike, we can go slider, see if we can get a chase. If not, now we can go maybe up and in. See if we can jam him up and in the strike zone. Like, I feel like we've just dumbed the game down so much, and like no one talks about it. Like no one talks about that. Like pitching strategy is just like, well, this guy's hitting 200 against sliders, and it's like, yeah, but are those sliders in 2-strike counts? What about sliders in a 3-1 count? What about sliders in a 2-0 count? Sliders in a 1-1 count? Sliders in a 1-0 count? Like we can break it down so much that maybe it makes sense in certain counts, but it doesn't make sense in other counts. And we've just dumbed it down so much that's why you see guys that have really good stuff and you're like, how's he getting hit? It's like, well, I mean, hitters kind of know what's coming now. What pitches would you recommend for a 14 under pitcher? Fastball and a changeup. With my 14-year-old pitching, we focus on strike percentage. It's helped him keep his composure and focus on doing his job at his age. Yeah, I love that. Love that. I mean, at 14, man, like this. I mean, if you want your son to be like instantly an above average pitcher, if he starts throwing a changeup at like 12 or 13 years old, or even earlier than that, because a changeup's not really hard on your elbow, depending on how you grip it and stuff like that. But just like an old classic 4-seam changeup, Like by the time he's in high school, he's going to have pretty good feel for it. It's probably going to be a good pitch. And changeup's the hardest pitch to hit in baseball. So start throwing a changeup. Good stuff. Thanks. I was inspired by the Athletic article from this morning on the Florida basketball coach who grew up in a system where they tracked hustle stats and tracked them both in practice and games, and is attributed to their excellent play, especially doing the little things, since it's such a focus for traditional measures of stats. Yeah, I love that. I mean, that's another thing that no one. There's some programs that that do kind of keep track of that stuff, but there's a lot of programs now where you see guys get away with stuff where you're like, man, if I did that when I was in college, like I would have been ripped to shreds, right? And it's like pimping doubles, or like pimping a ball that doesn't get out of the park, or like not hustling down the line. That used to get you kicked out of practice. That used to like be like, hey, stop practice. We're going to line up on the line and run. And you don't see that happen anymore. And I think some of it is like the administrations, the athletic associations have made it to where like you can't punish players with like conditioning, which it's like, how are you supposed to toughen guys up? I can promise you, if you make a mistake and your buddies have to run, and you have to run, and you're all dead at the end of it, you're going to think twice before not hustling down the line. You're going to hustle down the line the rest of the year. Guy's a weirdo, and I have Florida basketball coach. Guy's a weirdo, and I have actual sources that know he's a weirdo. The stuff reported about him was true. Difference is they are winning and not losing. Kane's got the inside sources. Canes, he definitely looks like a weirdo. Man, you know what aggravates me? So I showed you guys that safety squeeze bunt for the walk-off. Look at the tweet up here. I don't know if you can see it. I'll zoom in. It's not very often you see a walk-off hit with a 13.2 mile an hour exit velocity. Actually, you used to see stuff like that all the time. You used to see that quite a bit. And, thank God the Brewers have Pat Murphy as a manager who's smart enough and knows the game and is going to... Well, there's a lot of managers in this situation that won't bunt. A lot of them. But, who made this tweet? Who was like, yeah, let's make a joke about how he bunted at 13 mile an hour off the bat? It's like, what? It's just unbelievable, the stuff you see. If we had a different coach, we'd have more wins right now. Who do you think is the most underrated team in college baseball? Underrated? That's tough to say. I mean, me personally, I think probably Virginia Tech is one of them. I think Virginia Tech is very underrated. They always are. And that's why I say it, because Virginia Tech every year is predicted to finish like bottom quarter of the ACC, and they always finish higher. They're always undervalued, so I would go with VT. Want to take boys to see more ballparks. Any good ideas for ACC ball? I think obviously some of the better parks. I mean, Georgia Tech's, it's a beautiful stadium right in downtown Atlanta. Best skyline in college baseball, 100%. And that's an unbiased opinion. Everybody says that. Clemson, for sure. They get big crowds. We've got a great stadium. Florida State, just because it's iconic. Trying to think of some of the other ones. I mean, UNC is a beautiful stadium. Those would be my picks. 40 different flavors. We have great milkshakes, 40 different flavors. Yeah, Miami Stadium is sick. Yeah, the milkshake thing is great. Underrated West Virginia. But West Virginia, I think, is... Don't quote me on this, but aren't they in the top 25 now? Let's check. According to D1 Baseball... Let me see if this one's... Okay, they're not in the top 25. So, I mean, yeah, you could go with West Virginia. You could go with West Virginia for sure. But I think West Virginia is always kind of thought of as like, especially the last few years, of like being pretty good. Virginia Tech, so they're always the Virginia Tech. They're always like, I don't know how they're going to be, and then you watch them their opening weekend, and you're like, this team's actually really good. Buck, I've been to Wake Forest, nice, but in a weird area near campus, and UVA really like the stadium. Yeah, UVA's stadium is really nice, especially after they got those upgrades after winning the national championship. Which more managers were like Pat Murphy? Fundamental team, situational hitting, aggressive base stealing team. Yeah, man. I mean, Pat Murphy, like, he's a stud. I love that. He's one of my favorite coaches I ever played for. He actually made a joke one time with me. He's like, Renner, like, if you had played for me at Arizona State, you would have been a first rounder. And I'm like, Murph, because he had a bunch of guys at first round picks out of Arizona State. And I said, okay, Murph, but like, was that because of you or in spite of you? And he sat there and thought about it and was kind of like, fair point. And then he's like, but none of those guys were drafted out of high school. And I'm like, okay, all right. But yeah, I love Pat, man. I love Pat. I loved being around him. I thought he was, he just got a wealth of baseball knowledge. He's a baseball guy. And I was really excited for him when he got the job in Milwaukee. I texted him, and we had a little conversation. But awesome guy. I'll be at Boston College next month to report on their stadium. Duke could also be underrated since everyone forgot about them. No, you don't get to be underrated when you're picked to be top 15 in the country preseason and you get off to a bad start. You don't get to say underrated. Thanks y'all for the suggestions. Noted. Yeah, no problem, dude. Kay just joined in. You get a chance to go over midseason All-Americans. Interesting difference between D1 baseball and PG. Let me see here. Let's click on the D1 baseball. All right, so midseason top player, Alex Lodis. No surprise. He's hitting like 500 with 10 doubles, 11 homers. I mean, there's a few players that are probably in consideration, but you can't deny he's probably been the best player in the country. And in 3 weeks in the ACC, he's hitting even better. Like his numbers are all higher in ACC play than they were before. So that's crazy enough. Here's a play that he made.
Ground ball
Deep.
Pretty good. Midseason top pitcher, Kyson Witherspoon, right-handed pitcher, Oklahoma, 8-3 with a 3.7 ERA, 90 strikeouts against 40 walks and 80 innings. Oh, that was last year. Sorry. I'm like, wait, there's no way he's thrown that many innings. All right, so he's 5-1 with a 2.3 ERA, 64 strikeouts to 10 walks in 39 innings. Yeah, that's pretty good. Got to go. You have a stream? You having a stream tonight? Probably. We'll probably do a little watch party, watch one of the games. So thanks for joining, White House. All right, let's see here. Keep going. Midseason top freshman, Dax Whitney, right-handed pitcher, Oregon State. What? This is the top freshman? There's no shortage of elite freshman hitters who can stake a claim to the top freshman honors at the midway point. Derek Curiel, Tage Davis, Miles Bailey, Sawyer Strasnider, and Tennessee's Levi Clark each have an OPS better than 1,100. I mean, I think you could put Alex Hernandez in there. He's leading. I think he's like tied for first or maybe second with home runs for a freshman. He's hitting like 340. But all right. It's hard to separate them. In this offensive era, Whitney's excellence on the mound truly stands above the rest of the top freshman arms. Stepping right into a weekend starter spot for a preseason top 10 team. Overrated. See, this is what I don't get, man. Like, Oregon State hasn't played anybody. Like a 3.38 ERA with a 50-12 strikeouts to walk ratio, which that's really good. Don't get me wrong. Holding opponents to a 217 batting average. I just don't think that should be your midseason top freshman, but okay. Best coaching job. Kyle, you would love my son's JUCO team. Elite defense, wood bats, bunting, advancing runners, great pitching. That's awesome. I would love that. Vitello, best coaching job. No surprise. And I think the point is, like, every year Tennessee just seems to like find its way to like the number one ranking, you know? Biggest surprise, Kansas State. Agree. Ole Miss. Virginia Tech. Biggest surprise, Virginia Tech. Okay. Kansas. That makes sense. UCLA. Biggest disappointments, A&M. Florida. Oklahoma State. Mississippi State. Virginia. Breakout star, Sam Tackett, outfield, Virginia Tech. A fifth-year senior who hit just 171 and 167 career bats entering this year. Wow. He's raking this year. Breakout prospect, Corbin Dickerson, outfield, Indiana. All right, let's get to the list. I mean, my God. Kyle, what's the best restaurant in Sandy Springs right now? I'll tell you what, that Mr. 01 Pizza, Dusty, that just came in, the Michelin star pizza restaurant, and the 8.7 Dave Portnoy ranking, that place is legit. I would say it's probably, I mean, there's a good amount, but like maybe the Select. The Select. No. Yeah, like breakout prospect, I guess, because maybe he is a prospect, but like where's Kyle Lodice in any of these, you know, like breakout star? I mean, Tackett's doing really well too, so it's whatever. All right. First team as of right now, Ryan Galvin, Texas. Jared Jones, first base for LSU. Yeah, I mean, he's, 10 doubles, 10 homers, 404. Gavin Killen, second base, 425 with 10 homers. Cade Lewis, Wake Forest, 465. Golly, man. And you're telling, like, tell me that the balls aren't juiced, but all these guys are hitting like 450 with 10 home runs at the halfway point. Cade Lewis, Wake Forest, blah, blah, blah. Alex Lodis at shortstop, beating out his cousin right now. Drew Burris, outfield, 358. 16 doubles, 9 homers, 26 walks to 19 strikeouts. Let's see. Connie Derschlag, High Point, 10 homers. Everyone's hitting 500. Sam Tackett. DH Rylan Zaborowski from Georgia. Makes sense. Ethan Hedges. Utility from Southern Cal. 10 home runs. All right, pitcher is Liam Doyle from Tennessee. Joseph Zerwa from Michigan State. Jake Knapp, North Carolina. He's balling. Joey Villani, Florida State. Kyson Witherspoon, Oklahoma. Lucas Malstedt from Clemson. He's been really good out of the pen. Mason Patel, Georgia Tech. Ethan Hedges. Wait. Why is there a utility guy in the pitchers section? Why isn't he just right here? Why is he in both? I don't know. All right, second team, Grant J, Dallas Baptist. Andrew Fisher, Tennessee. 11 bombs, first base, 309. Robbie Burnett, Georgia. 13 jacks. Brent Iredale, Arkansas. Justin LeBron, shortstop, Alabama. Man, Lodis isn't beating out LeBron? That's crazy. I thought Lodis would be here for sure. All right, Devin Taylor, Ryan Weiderman, Merrick Houston, Wake Forest. All right, let's see. I kind of want to go straight to no third team. Wow. So Lodis doesn't get on here. That's crazy to me. Let's look at his stats. .393, 15 doubles, 2 triples, 12 home runs, 22 walks to 22 strikeouts, 7 stolen bases. How is Lodis not on one of those lists? Let's see. We tried to get that guy, Joseph Durska from Michigan State. One of our donors went to high school with his dad, and when our donor approached his dad laughed at us. He hit the portal, committed to Vanderbilt, and then decommitted and went back to Michigan State. Really? All right. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me today. We'll probably do a stream tonight and watch one of the games coming up tonight. And we'll see you guys then. We got a game tonight, too. Big high school game. We're 8-0 in the region, so we're going for 9-0. So wish me luck. It was super random that he went back. Everyone was on him. Yeah, I mean, it looks like it. He's a stud.